didn't have in 1815? Airplanes. There's one. Airplanes. Just a second. You're right there, Buck. Airplanes is something we didn't have in 1815 in Europe. Buck, what was the other one? Submarines. That's another. Submarines. What else didn't we have in 1850 that we had in 1914? Poison gases. Very good. Poison gases. And this is why, Keller, you are an AP history student. Anybody else? We've got airplanes, we've got submarines, we've got poison gases. What else did we make? What? Okay, now, Buck's got bombs. Okay, what type of bombs that we didn't have? We had bombs in 1850. What kind did we have?
Oh,
What?
I don't know.
Okay, what's this?
Atomic bomb.
No, we don't have those yet.
Oh,
Long-range artillery. We didn't have that. Long-range artillery was another one. And Brooke is busting at the seams. Brooke, what's yours?
Tanks.
Tanks! And what'd you say over here? Machine guns. Man, we're popping them off like crazy. So we've said poison gases, we've said submarines, we've said tanks, we've said airplanes, we've said machine guns, we've said bombs or long-distance artillery. How many is that? 6. Woo! Holy moly. First day. Now, World War I will also be termed, Kylie Woofington, as an industrial war. Why? By? No, you're good. By, what's the term? We make a lot of weapons by mass production. She's right there. God, all right. So in addition, World War I is going to be an industrial war. Weapons are going to be made like they've never been made before by mass production. That's what we've accomplished in technology in 99 years. Mass production will be huge. Okay, Mr. Talon. What would be the most dramatic weapon used in the 6 we've talked about that will cause the most carnage and probably kill the most people of the 6 we've mentioned? The most dramatic weapon. No? The machine guns. Remember how we used to have to lever every one? Now we're just pointing and pulling the trigger. So machine guns will become the most dramatic weapon used in World War I. How would you protect yourself? Now think about the wars before, where people, although the Southerners were a little better at this because they hid behind rocks and those types of things, but you're in an open field and you're fighting in World War I and you're facing the machine gun at you. How are you going to protect yourself from getting mowed down? What? You're going to dig trenches. And World War I became very famous for what we know as trench warfare. Trench warfare. They would dig trench after trench, and how they gain ground? Get to the next trench. Get to the next trench. So trench warfare, especially early in World War I, was very, very important strategy. Now this is kind of an interesting story. I think you'll get a kick out of it. I thought to myself when I was your age that, airplanes might be the thing that would be the most dramatic. What do you think about that? We didn't have before. Well, when the airplane came into the war in Europe, the first ones were, first of all, they weren't very fast and they weren't very maneuverable. Okay? And they were mainly used for 2 things. Observation, seeing where the enemy was, and dropping explosives. Okay, but they also end up having another use too, you really see modernized today, and that was taking those machine guns that were so effective and mounting them on the airplanes and then flying over and using those. So, but it took a little time. So when airplanes were first introduced in World War I, they were not very maneuverable at all. They weren't very fast, easy targets. They were mainly used to observe and to drop bombs. But they eventually put machine gun stands on those. The problem was their propellers were not synchronized, which means the first airplanes that had machine guns on them shot off their own propellers after so many shots, and so Machine guns were mounted on airplanes early in the war, but they were not synchronized and resulted in many self-inflicted casualties, if you can imagine. You're the pilot of that plane using machine guns. We're going to get a few of them before we shoot off our propellers, and then we're going down. It's almost like a kamikaze pilot, no way. But not at that time. So, what we have here is we have Europe entering the war, we have the new modern technology, and we talk about that. Now, the next subtopic, we'll get a start on this, were European alliances, which is important to understand, and the spark that helped set off World War I. And the European alliances are going to be kind of important to understand here. So, European alliances and the spark that helped set off World War I.
This is the one that starts because of the Archduke of Austria's success.
It's a crazy story, yeah. What? God dang, where are you getting this?
I know this, man.
This is literally up to that. Like, you know, no one knows this.
Do you know how many books you read in elementary school about this stuff?
Like, his whole life revolves around this.
Teller's life. All right. All right, well, good. We'll see how much you know. Well, let's not go that far. Okay, now listen. This is important you understand. In June of 1914, the major powers in Europe, or the major countries I'm talking about, the major powers in Europe arranged themselves in competing alliances, which means you're competing against each other. So, again, and we'll explain this. In June of 1914, the major powers in Europe, or major countries in Europe, arranged themselves in competing alliance. An alliance is, if your alliance is with someone, you're loyal to them. You're partners with them. You're allies with them. Okay? So it's almost like two teams in a way against each other. Okay? Now, in June of 1914, they were split up as follows. One alliance was called the Triple Alliance. The Triple Alliance. I think that's on your ID sheet. And the countries that were in the Triple Alliance, that were allies, were Germany and Austria-Hungary. It was one country. Austria-Hungary. So there were two countries that were members of the Triple Alliance, that alliance. And they were Germany and the country of Austria-Hungary. It was one country. No, just... So it's a good point. We'll get to that. We'll build. The Triple Entente was the other one. That's how you pronounce it. Triple Entente. Doesn't spell it like that. But the Triple Entente was the other alliance. And involved in the Triple Entente originally would be France, Great Britain, and Russia. So the Triple Entente consisted of France, Great Britain, and Russia. Now, you got a good point there, Courtney. We just haven't got there yet. Now, here's the danger of an alliance. Okay? Here's the Triple Entente, and here's the Triple Alliance. You're all tied in with each other. Okay? The trouble with that is, if Hannah gets ticked off at Kyle, that forces Carly and Shania and Kylie and Chantel and Soraya and Gracie and Buck to not like Kyle just because she doesn't like Kyle. So what it does is, the dangers of it is, if one country gets in a conflict with another country, then because of the alliance, all of the other countries have to join suit. That makes it a danger. Yeah, high school, that a girl. Now, are your chances of a major war in Europe greater because of the formation of alliances than if you didn't have alliances? No question about it. Courtney's not far off in that high school analogy, okay? But that's how it is. And so this is a contributing factor, a huge contributing factor, which is going to lead Europe into a world war because we formed these alliances. And what happens is we're going to have a tiny, tiny, tiny little spark that's going to start this entire ball rolling, and because of the alliances that we have in place, it's going to result in a world war. So here's the spark. On June 28, 1914, on June 28 of 1914, bear with me here, in Sarajevo,
What?
in Sarajevo, not on your sheet?
No, it is.
Yeah. In Sarajevo, which was the capital city of Bosnia, which was a province of Austria-Hungary.
Oh my gosh.
This is what we're going to end on today, so we can start. So get going here. This one spark, this one incident that's going to lead us into World War happened on June 28, 1914. Where did it happen? In Sarajevo. What is Sarajevo? The capital city of Bosnia. What is Bosnia? A province of the country of Austria-Hungary. This is where the spark's going to start that sends us into a world war. On June 28, 1914, in Sarajevo, the capital city of Bosnia, which was a province of Austria-Hungary, the Archduke of Bosnia, Franz Ferdinand, and his wife were riding through the streets of Sarajevo in an open automobile. So again, on the date of June 28, 1914, the Archduke of Bosnia, Franz Ferdinand, and his wife were riding through the streets of Sarajevo, which is the capital city of Bosnia, in an open automobile. Franz Ferdinand and his wife are riding through Sarajevo, the capital city of Bosnia, in an open automobile. A 19-year-old man by the name of Gavrilo Princip rushes towards the car, fires his revolver, kills both the Archduke and his wife. On that date of June 28, 1914, a 19-year-old man by the name of Gavrilo Princip rushed towards the Archduke's car, fires his revolver, and kills both the Archduke and his wife. Now here's where it gets a little bit crazy, but you got to listen. This Gavrilo Princip, who killed the Archduke and his wife, was from the country of Serbia. He was from the country of Serbia. Now there's a lot of little countries, and Serbia was under Austrian, not Hungarian, but under Austrian rule. We have two countries into one. And so you have some conflicts in government, and this Gavrilo Princip, who shot the Archduke and his wife, was from Serbia, which was under the control of Austria. Not Hungary, Austria. Well, what's going to happen here is you got a conflict. The people that lived in Serbia that were under Austrian rule for many years believed that their country should be free of Austrian rule. They felt like they were slaves within their own country. And this assassination by Princip from Serbia is going to lead to these alliances getting involved, ultimatums being given that can't be kept, and a conflict that turns into war. So we'll get into that tomorrow. But we'll talk about ultimatums and how that worked, and it'll make sense. But remember, you got a Serbian who's under Austrian rule who doesn't think they should kill the Archduke. Okay? And we'll go from there. Perfect. And we'll show you how the alliances go crazy. And then you'll have maybe more than the double, triple alliance. Maybe we'll get more to join. That's bad. Didn't know anything about Big Round Top. Hey, where's the book and the bullet? Both right here. Hey, let's check how good you guys are. On August 12th, we had $35.33 in our account. On August 12th. $33. $35.33. Yeah, whatever, in our account. As of today, we have 24,300. 11 days, that's how long it took. Dollars. Living on a prayer halfway there. Isn't that something? 11 days, 24 grand. I sent $5,000 today as a first payment on our hotel. So, you know anyway, that's pretty good race. You want me to take that down to Riverton this weekend and put it all on black? We could have like 48 grand. You would have to raise it. Just take that 25 and put it on black. What's that? It's got to have yeah. Then if I show up in a state of depression, you know I lost my. If I come in flying around with this thing, yeah, put it on red, baby. All my money. You have a 50 chance on red. Not screw up. I found a 25-cent Reno one time. Oh God, you were telling me all that. Hey, we gotta take another picture tomorrow. Taylor, are you in chat? How you doing there, Nielsen? Get your butt back here. You're behind. Oh, I better get that off.